a lot about ankle mobility, let's talk about the importance of proper shoe wear when running. So we can do all the right things, have the be the strongest person, have all the necessary flexibility, have the sound training program, but if we're running with the wrong type of shoes, we're probably going to set ourselves up for failure and then end up injured regardless of what we do with our training program. So in this short little video, I'm going to talk about a few different things from a runner standpoint. This is very basic stuff, and so we'll go a little bit deeper into that. So the first thing I want to talk about is two different types of foot types. So you have your pronated foot type, and then on one end of the spectrum, which is your flattened arch, so you'll see them when they run, they pronate excessively. And by the way, pronation isn't always bad. Pronation is needed in running and even in walking. It's just when it becomes excessive that it causes chaos throughout the body and causes running injuries. Now, the other end of the spectrum here, we have a supinated or high arched foot. And so this type of person has super high arch, and they're not really good at absorbing shock. And again, supination is needed in gait as well in running, but you don't want too much supination and you don't want too much pronation. You should pronate at certain phases in the gait, and then you should supinate in the other. So there's a fine line between, it's kind of like a yin and yang between this pronation and supination. And in the middle here we have kind of more a neutral foot. So now let's talk a little bit about the foot type for shoe for a pronated type of foot or runner. So we want to first off address any biomechanical things going on that are causing that person to pronate excessively. Because sometimes it's not the foot itself, it's usually something at the hip is weak, or even it could be the ankle joint is stiff, and we'll talk about that here shortly. So when I just got done talking about the ankle mobility, but one of the things that happens for runners when they lack the ankle mobility is that they will then pronate excessively to get the motion to make it look like they have adequate dorsiflexion. And so you'll see a lot of runners then will stay pronated because their ankle joints are stiff. So if you haven't already, apply these strategies I did earlier in the videos above, and I think that will help in that regard. The second thing that we see is a lack of hip strength proximally when we're running. And so what happens is the knee dives in, and then that causes that foot to stay pronated as well. Now, from a shoe standpoint, we want a shoe from a pronated foot position to have kind of a more rigid heel cup. And that's going to provide a lot more support and stability because that heel is already unlocked and it's moving too much and it's causing the arch to collapse. So we want to provide more stability. So they would want a more deeper heel cup and a rigid heel cup in regards to shoe. And I highly recommend you check out the Run Shop if you haven't already and go see Rachel in this regard. Conversely, someone who has a supinated foot, they are going to always stay in a high arch position so they can't really absorb shock real well. So they're going to want something that has a little bit more give to it in a shoe. They don't want something firm or stiff. Rather, they probably want something more looser type of shoe, a heel cup that isn't as firm as someone in that pronated position. And so again, these are just very basic things, and not everyone falls into these categories, and to really discern what type of shoe you need. You need an assessment from myself or someone at the Run Shop. But there you have it. Those are really two key things that you need to consider when, from a foot standpoint, you need to discern if you are in this pronated type position foot or a supinated type foot position. And if you're in the pronated type position, you need more of a firm shoe or stiffer shoe. And conversely, if you are a supinated type foot, you want a shoe that is a little bit less firm, and you may even need an orthotic for that. But again, use this video as a tutorial to help discern what type of shoe you need and apply and use this for your running and training.